Morning, fellas.
Morning.
Good morning.
Got some big news today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Big news. Yep. So I know we've been waiting for this for a while. They actually dropped the name of the next Avengers movie that's coming out. I know. I'm surprised Cory didn't tell us about it first.
I'm listening.
News to my ears.
It's called Avengers Assemble. The whole thing happens at an IKEA.
Bye.
Oh man, with really bad hex nuts, and no directions, just pictures.
Thor's the only one that can understand the instructions.
You see Groot doing this.
Yeah.
He's pointing at it. I am Groot.
Oh my god.
I am Groot.
Welcome back to the Real Heroes Show, folks. In today's episode, we are going to be very spoiler heavy, talking about episode 4 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, entitled "The World Is Watching." So please go watch the episode if you haven't already, then come back to us. Also, if you're new to the channel, go ahead, click that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so that way you don't miss any future content from us. I'm Cory. I have Nick and Kevin here as always. And gentlemen, how are you guys doing on this wonderful Saturday morning?
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you're not sad after what we saw?
I'm a little
A little stunned.
a little shocked, but
Yeah.
Taken aback, if you will.
yeah, taking it back's a good one.
Yeah, just to run through a couple, quick things from the plot. Written by Derek Kolstad again. So John Wick writer did these two episodes, last one and this one. We got to see.
No, I would have never been able to notice
Yeah,
that.
I know, right? the darkest, most violent episodes of anything Marvel's
but
ever
the best
done.
ones though.
For sure.
We got to see some Wakanda for a very brief second there. We had some more antics with Zemo.
Yep.
We got some more action sequences. John Walker finally snapped, which we've all been waiting for.
Did he ever?
Then, we end the episode with probably one of the most iconic images we've seen from the MCU so far. I feel like that thing with the shield splattered in blood is going to be burned into my brain for the rest of my existence. So
we're gonna be seeing it for a while.
So Kevin, I'm going to start with you, bud. What did you like about this episode? Was there anything you didn't like? Where did it land for you?
Man, I hate to sound like a broken record. There wasn't much I didn't like about this episode.
Fair.
The really great part about it is how they delved into the motivation behind some of these characters, and not only that, but how Sam was basically identifying with Carly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He says he understands her struggle. He agrees with her fight. He just doesn't agree with her methods.
Right.
It's almost like we were watching Carly Morgenthau and John Walker kind of switch places.
Yeah.
And one become the bad guy and one obviously become like the freedom fighter. So it hit on every level for me. We got to see some like what you mentioned, the action from the Wakandans, who just kicked major ass.
Yeah.
As John Walker.
Ever, man.
We got to see Zemo some really funny moments with him. I think always, it's just like I said, every single level. We got Sam back in his suit.
Yeah,
finally. Yep.
Really great action. So,
Yep.
And then
that
finally,
that scene,
and why he snapped.
yes,
Yeah.
Too,
Yeah. Absolutely.
So seeing and also, I guess, sorry to be a little long-winded here, but the inner turmoil with John Walker trying to decide if he should take the serum or not. And then, asking Battlestar what he thinks. And, it's just, it played out extremely well to where you can understand all of the motivations behind each character. And it's not just unbelievable. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, loved it.
Awesome. Nick, how about you, bud?
Yeah. Everything Kevin said, I concur with. I'd say the other things just maybe, and as a whole, the character development, right? Every single character continues to progress. We still see more of their growth. I mean, I love the beginning where we see more about Bucky back in Wakanda with Ayo, like just how she tested him, and you see him going through that emotional pain. So some good acting from Sebastian Stan there.
Incredible.
Right?
The tears, man.
Oh yeah,
those were real tears.
Yeah, that was some good ass acting, and but it's kind of cool because you don't see him with his left arm in that scene, which going to the fight scene with Dora Milaje, and she just hits him with this like combo and literally just shuts off his arm and it falls off, and I was like,
yeah, I think we all did.
Oh, I didn't know that could happen. And it's funny because Sam goes to Bucky, "Did you know she could do that?" And he's like, "No."
Did that feel like the 5-point palm exploding heart technique from Kill Bill to you
It
guys?
really did.
A little
Yeah, it wasn't like as graphic as or like severe as saying maybe like when Magneto rips the adamantium from Wolverine, right?
Right.
Because Bucky didn't die or come close to death, but it was still like just separating part of what makes him who he is, and then of course that whole scene with when Walker gets his ass kicked, and then she kicks the shield up like the way Cap used to,
Winter Soldier,
like Steve Rogers did. I was like, "You're not the real Cap, buddy. Just sit your ass down."
I wanted them to take it. I wanted them to take it.
I thought they were like, "You don't deserve this shield because it's vibranium."
Right. It's their material.
Yeah. But dude, and it's an interesting point because Walker's talking with Lamar about they weren't even super soldiers, right? And they got their asses beat, and I'd say for the sake of the, like Kevin, like you were saying, the inner turmoil from Walker trying to decide whether or not to take the super serum, he asked Lamar, and Lamar was like, "Hell, of course I would," right? Like without a doubt. Like it was interesting because he took it, and then he dies later on in the episode, or he said he'll take it. He would if he had the opportunity. But when Zemo asked Sam, Sam was like, "Nope." He goes, "Nice."
Zemo says no hesitation. Yep.
Yeah, and it's very interesting, because of maybe looking at Lamar being a sidekick. Sam was Steve Rogers' sidekick, I guess, to a degree, maybe, but as they've kind of, especially as Sam has grown into his own like main character, not partners with Bucky,
right? Not partners,
but just still that same distinction of like, I don't need that to be great and to be who he is, because he shows.
And he doesn't.
He
boy,
is.
he kicks ass.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like he still uses his abilities, his skills from the military, and then his training from being a literal wingman, and the way he even uses his own personal experiences to talk to Carly. That is a skill, not a weapon, but it's a skill to use, because I think he could have talked her down, and Walker is impatient as he was,
fuck it up,
screwed it all up. Exactly, man. Like, he was, that whole part was kind of giving me a little anxiety, because I was like, this fucker's gonna screw it up, and I'm gonna hate him even more, And to think about it, the whole cause and effect scenario, if he hadn't gone in, Lamar might not have died.
Yeah.
And it's like that blood, that literal blood, is on his hands. So yeah, it is interesting, the sort of parallels that they were they had in this episode. But it was great.
Yeah,
I think they're definitely setting Sam up to be the next leader of the Avengers, and rightfully so. He's the one that's got the the level head. He has the negotiation skills. He can see both sides of an issue. He's not clouded by anger.
Yep.
Like, he's and plus he's a badass and knows, tactics and strategy, and he can fight, and
Yeah.
I just can't wait till he has the shield and the wings and fights with both of them.
Yep.
Oh man,
That's gonna be badass.
It's gonna be some wild stuff. But
Yeah.
I agree with everything you guys said. A couple other small little touches that I loved. The guy that John Walker brutally beats to death at the end of the episode is the guy earlier in the episode that confesses to Carly that he was a Captain America fan when he was a kid. And it's like, oh god, and he got yeeted real fast. I did not expect Lamar to die this early.
Same.
I thought there was a good chance that he may not have made it through the series, but I didn't think it was going to happen here. So when that happened, I thought it was going to be like, oh, he got knocked back, he's hurt, he might have to go to the hospital or whatever. But he was pretty much dead on arrival as soon as he slammed into that column, which was pretty wild.
I kind of thought there, just for a second, I thought that maybe John would give him the serum to save him. Yeah. Well, he used that shit on himself. Yeah, selfish man. I also thought it was cool the way that Zemo in the beginning talks about how anyone who takes that serum becomes like a supremacist or a bad person, or they get influenced by the power, and they're like, well, what about Steve? And he goes, touche, but there's never been another Steve Rogers. And then all of a sudden, a guy who got 3 medals of honor from serving in Afghanistan, who apparently had to do some pretty rough shit while he was out there, probably suffers from PTSD, takes super soldier serum, and then turns into a murder machine. So all of that stuff, there was a lot of seeding throughout the episode that led to that moment. The Dora Milaje showing up, I loved when they said the Dora Milaje have no jurisdiction here, and they were like, the Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje happen to be. And I was just like, you badass motherfuckers, oh my god.
I was so sick.
They were so badass. Absolutely
awesome. The action sequences, all of that were really great. But for me, it all comes down to that final scene, that final image, the fact that they didn't go to the like the rock and roll music for the credits like they had for the first 3 episodes. It was like a real somber orchestral thing, because they really wanted to drive home the moment and put the emphasis on the fact that Captain America just murdered somebody in front of a crowd of people for not really a great reason.
And while the guy is standing there saying, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. The crowd doesn't know what that's in reference to. All they know is it looks like Captain America just killed an innocent person,
right? And it's caught on video, and I think that's obviously going to lead to I don't think he's going to get like in a ton of trouble, because he's basically like the equivalent of a white cop that beat somebody to death. He's going to get off, he's going to be fine, but they might take the shield away from him. That might be how Bucky and Sam end up with it, because we've seen in the trailers where they're practicing it at Sam's house and whatnot.
Right.
The last thing I really liked, I loved when Carly called Sam's sister.
Oh yeah. And
it was like kind of villainous, but she only did it to get some insight into who Sam was. And it was like a really strategic thing. But it made Sam almost fly off the handle a little bit, which was
he's like, is that cool. You threatened my family, and I didn't really take it that way. Like, of course I know she's sort of tampered on the line of saying like, I know where your family lives,
right?
And
she knows their names and all that stuff,
right? So it's not so much like a full-fledged threat, but I did understand and think that she was trying to just gain that information from Sarah, and I was like, oh, I mean, and again, not to blame Sam for getting a little close to the rails, because anyone would kind of go like, why'd you just threaten my family when you're a super soldier with 7 more on your side, and you're blowing up buildings and killing
clearly
people.
Kill somebody with 1 punch, because that's what she did later in the episode.
Exactly.
So cool.
I think it's kind of cool that Erin Kellyman, who plays Carly Morgenthau, she's playing basically the same type of character that she played as Enfys Nest. It's like
Solo.
At first you feel like, oh, this is the bad guy, and then you think, oh well, shit, Like,
JK.
is she though? You know, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the great thing about Marvel's villains, I think, is always that, well, not always, because there was Iron Man 2 and 3, but you usually at least understand their motivation and can sympathize with them to a degree, right? Even when even in like Deadpool 2, when Cable comes back and he's trying to basically kill a teenager, and he seems like maybe he's a bad guy.
Right.
Can you understand his motivation? Yeah, absolutely.
To a degree,
you know?
it's for the right reason. And
Yeah,
it's the
you
same
get-
thing with Thanos, and it's the same thing with Killmonger,
Absolutely.
and you know,
Yep.
all of their better written villains are ones that, for a minute, you're
Yep.
like, are they really doing the wrong thing? They're probably doing it the wrong way, but like,
Right. Exactly.
they have the right
Exactly.
idea behind what they're.
And I think
thinking
that's
about.
exactly what Sam pointed out. It's like,
Yep.
I agree with your cause, just not your
Yeah.
methods.
Which that's a really that's a very Captain America-y thing of Sam to do. You know,
Yeah.
to
Yep.
not use violence to try to solve a problem, to go in, talk to somebody. That from a comics perspective, that feels like a very Steve Rogers-y thing that
sure.
he did.
Yeah,
there.
I agree.
So, all stuff that's just going to set up him being Cap, which I think is kind of inevitable at this point. But cool. So let's wrap this one up. Kevin, out of 10, what do you give this one?
God, it's so hard because we still have a few episodes left to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna get granular with my rating. So
Yeah, so I'm easing it up there, 9.25.
Okay.
I was legit gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
So
All right.
And I think I haven't seen anything I don't like in this series yet, and I have no reason to believe that the next episode isn't
It's
just
gonna
gonna
be any
fucking
less.
blow my mind.
Well,
yeah,
the next episode,
yeah.
there's a rumor of a large character showing up, and we don't want to get too high into the
and it's
overhyping game
61
again. but
minutes long.
It's
Come
also
on,
a very
man.
long episode, so buckle up.
Yeah.
I'll give it a solid 9.
All right.
Fair.
Because I want those 2 final episodes to fill in that 9 to 10 gap,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
hopefully land in a really wild place. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. This was a wild episode all around. We're in solid 9 territory across the board from us, so obviously we're really liking it. We would love if you guys could drop us a comment below. Let us know what you thought of this episode. What were your favorite parts? Was there anything that didn't click for you? Where do you think it's going in this next episode? And as I mentioned before, if you are new here, please go ahead, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and for everybody who's here, please go ahead and click that like button. It really helps us out. So until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.